It was a seesaw battle between the Athletics and the Rangers last night, each team countering with offense throughout the game. But the green and gold had the last blow as Ben Zobrist scorched a big fly to right center, and Drew Pomeranz shut the door as the A's took game 1 of this series here in Arlington. Bob Melvin and the boys are fewer than 10 games under the 500 mark for the first time in a while, and they have won 8 out of their last 10 games. Tonight they will look to secure another series win. There's plenty of baseball to play, and with every win, the gap becomes tighter in the AL West. It's Game 2. A's Rangers next. Well, the A's continue to play good baseball tonight. They'll try to make it 2 in a row over the Texas Rangers. One of the heroes from last night, Josh Phegley, he hit a home run last night. He is in the lineup tonight behind the plate, and Kendall Graveman is going to make the start for the Athletics. So it's Game 2 of a 3-game series from Arlington, Texas. It's the A's and the Rangers coming up on Comcast Sportsnet, California. Hi again, everybody. Welcome to Oakland A's Baseball. Along with Ray Fosse, I'm Glenn Kuiper. The A's are scoring runs in bunches, and their hottest hitter right now is Ben Zobrist.
It's great to have him back because we know he can play defensive positions, second and left field. He's at second base tonight, but for Ben Zobrist, swinging the bat has been exceptional. He hit his first home run as a member of the Athletics against these Rangers on opening night, but since then, he went on the disabled list, but since he has come back, he has been unbelievable. Big home run last night on a 3-2 fastball and would give the A's a 3-run lead, but everything he has done swinging the bat especially makes you really realize how much the A's missed him while he was on the disabled list.
Now the Rangers will send veteran left-hander Wandy Rodriguez to the mound. He's trying to revive his career, and so far so good. He's pitched well for Texas.
Well, he's the true definition of a crafty left-hander because he's not overpowering, but he will use all of his pitches facing the Athletics for the first time. So they'll see change-ups, they'll see curveballs, sneaky fastballs. He's a good left-handed pitcher. Said for the Athletics, they would just try to figure him out after all the scouting reports, but his numbers have been very good since joining the Rangers, and with all these guys on the disabled list, he, like everybody else, gets a chance.
All right, so Wandy Rodriguez and Kendall Graveman, the pitching matchup. Graveman will be looking for his 4th win of the year. The A's are looking for their 4th consecutive win as they are starting to play very good baseball. We'll have lineups and first pitch from Globe Life Park in Arlington. When we come back, it's the A's and the Texas Rangers.
California, is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Taste the new black pepper cheeseburger today, only at Jack in the Box. And by Toyota, the full-line automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America. Toyota, let's go places.
Welcome back to Globe Life Park here in Arlington for Game 2 of the series between the Athletics and the Texas Rangers. We pretty much know what the weather's like here at this time of year. It's hot. Game time weather presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Get to the beach. The admission-free boardwalk is now open daily. 92 degrees, so a couple degrees cooler than last night. And as always, very breezy. It's pretty much always windy and warm here in this ballpark. So the crowd still filing in, looking for a seat in the shade. That would be probably the best thing. Here's Bob Melvin's lineup tonight for the Athletics. It starts with Billy Burns in center. Then Mark Canha gets the start. He'll be in left field tonight. Stephen Vogt is back in the lineup. He's at first. Zobrist to cleanup spot. Josh Phegley, who's really been a hot hitter lately, and he's done a nice job against left-handed pitching this year, so he's going to hit in the 5th spot. Billy Butler will hit 6th, Brett Lawrie 7th, Marcus Semien hits 8th, and Sam Fuld gets a start in right field. He'll hit 9th.
And it's the left-hander Wandy Rodriguez on the mound for the Texas Rangers, and of course he has been around baseball for a while, 36 years young, but he knows how to pitch. And Kite will talk about the defense. Carlos Corcoran, his catcher, has caught him all 11 starts as a member of this Texas ball club because they were together in Houston, but not overpowering. Really have to think opposite field pretty much with his type of pitching. And you throw 89, 90 miles per hour with a fastball and a good changeup, you better not try to pull him because you roll over a lot. You're not going to see a lot of ground ball outs from the A's tonight.
So Rodriguez is ready. He kicks, and the first pitch of the ball game is in for a strike to Billy Burns. So we're underway from Globe Life Park. Quite a ball game last night. He's hung on and won it 8-6. And Burns lines one to left, and that's a hit. And Billy Burns digging into second, and he'll stop there. So Billy Burns does not wait around to extend his hitting streak. It's now at 14 games, and it's a leadoff double.
I think he questioned the first pitch fastball and then tried to go inside with another fastball, and Billy Burns always aggressive, hitting it down the left field line. And of course another leadoff hit, and this being a double, trying to get the A's on the board early. Happy has his older brother Bobby, who is in town watching him from Atlanta. And a very proud brother, as a matter of fact, to come in and watch Billy play. So Billy Burns and a Bobby Burns.
All right. Canha bounces one to the right side. Big hop for Odor. So Mark Canha gets Burns to third. Nice job there. And Burns is there with one out. Here's the defense for the Texas Rangers. Gallo, Martin, and Rua in the outfield. Beltre, Anders, Odor, and Moreland on the infield. And Carlos Corcoran is the catcher tonight. So Corcoran, new guy in the lineup tonight. Everybody else is the same from last night. Dan Iasonia is calling balls and strikes tonight with Dale Scott at second base. So infield in early. How about that? As Stephen Vogt hits.
Good to see Stephen back in the lineup tonight, and he is feeling better after the shot in his left elbow. Rodriguez hardly comes to a stop whenever he comes in a stretch position. With a timing mechanism for him. Knows how to pitch. He's been around a long time, and numbers show it. Well, that's almost hardly stopping at all. That's something that the A's might at least yell at the umpires and have them be alert about his quickness.
So 2-1 to Vogt. High fastball fouled straight back. So 2-2. Career numbers for Wandy Rodriguez, 95 and 96. How about the note on the bottom? A's are the only team in the majors he has never faced. His best years were with the Houston Astros. And from 2008 to 2011, he won 45 games for the Astros.
So if he retired after tonight, he could say he faced everybody then.
That's right. Started in Houston and then was traded to the Pirates in 2012. This one's hit in the air, left center, and it's going to get down. It's going to go to the wall. Burns will trot home, and Stephen Vogt with a double, and just like that, the A's are up 1-0. Well, that didn't take long.
No, and you're helping a hitter too when you throw it off speed as he did with a couple of strikes. So Billy Burns this time though made sure the ball was going to drop. He's going to score easily, but a hanging breaking ball, and Stephen Vogt really staying back, and that's something you really like to see on a ball that's up and with 2 strikes, not trying to jump out in front and get the ball. And Gallo could not get to it in left center field, and the A's have a quick run.
So 52nd RBI for Vogt. He is now tied with Miguel Cabrera. Ben Zobrist to bunt, he missed it, so the count 0-1. So Vogt and Cabrera tied for the league lead in RBIs. If you're tied with Miguel Cabrera in anything, that's good.
That's right.
0-1 to Zobrist, and a quick 0-2 to Zobrist. So the A's had 3 doubles and 2 home runs last night. In fact, their 3 doubles came in the same inning, and a couple more doubles here tonight. They've been sort of a doubles machine in the last couple weeks. Overall, the A's 4th in the league in runs scored, 10th in home runs. Boy, lately they have been scoring a lot of runs, and that's a good thing.
Especially in this park. The more the better, because last night, even with 8 runs, you're hanging on and hoping for a victory.
The Blue Jays way out in front of everybody in total runs scored. Then the Yankees, Astros, and the A's. Blue Jays, very powerful lineup.
The Astros and Angels playing a very long game this afternoon in Anaheim. A getaway day game for both clubs, at least for the Astros. The Angels are home for a while.
Right back to Rodriguez, but it goes under his glove. It's picked up by Odor, who throws to first, and they just get Zobrist. So Vogt goes to third.
Well, amazing going through the legs, and Vogt is going to third anyway. He's going on contact, and if Rodriguez comes up with the ball, pretty good chance Vogt is going to be out at third, but he just planked it, just missed it, and fortunately for him, he had his second baseman playing aggressively up the middle. So tomorrow we work on PFP, which is fundamental practice, because that's just a routine ground ball, and Vogt ends up at third.
So 2 outs now for Fegley. So a little meeting between Corcoran and Wandy Rodriguez. Probably how they want to approach Fegley, who's really been swinging a hot bat lately. Butler is the on-deck hitter. Fegley, couple of hits last night, a double and a home run, and he had 3 RBIs. First pitch, he's outside. He's with a run in on the Vogt double. It knocked home Burns, who had also doubled. That game just went final, Ray. The Angels won in the 13th inning, 2-1 over the Astros.
Must have been a walk-off.
It was a walk-off, as far as I know. Here's our Ford right choice. It is last night Josh Fegley. And there's the home run in the 5th inning. That was off Chichi Rodriguez. Then in the 6th, he doubled the deep center, tying the game at 5 apiece.
Well, I talked to Ike Davis, and we talked about him stretching that right center field shot into a double, and he said that's all out that I had, and I was going for 2, and it turned out to be a big double, driving in a run, but also getting to swarm position to score.
On Fegley with the 1. There's, I just said Chichi Rodriguez. Of course, I meant Chichi Gonzalez.
So you have Wandy Rodriguez and Chichi Gonzalez. So let's get them right, because there is a Chichi Rodriguez. That's Gonzalez on the dugout. That's what Chichi did last night. And Wandy Rodriguez, see, he makes a name to be a pretty good golfer.
And here's Butler. RBI opportunity. First pitch is inside. Wandy Rodriguez, he doesn't throw her hard. He's 87, 88. He tries to move it in and out, but he is a crafty left-hander. He would fit that definition perfectly. Curve outside. And now it's 2-0.
You know, there's sometimes that you employ a shift, and if the approach from the A's is the way it should be, and that is think opposite field, there is 3 or 4 Mack trucks on the right side could be driven through. I mean, that's a huge hole on the right side, and you know, he continues to pitch outside. They expect Billy Butler to pull the ball.
Bad at home, good on the road for Wandy Rodriguez.
And hasn't that been the Rangers pretty much this year?
Yes, it has. Good call. Rangers are 15 and 17 at home, 22 and 17 on the road, and it's another walk. So maybe pitching carefully to Fegley, but not the case with Butler, and he walked him on 4 pitches.
And of course, the Rangers know exactly what you just said, Kyle, and how the Angels actually in 13 to 14 innings defeated the Astros.
13.
But a 1-1 game until that inning. So the hand on the shoulder last night, and the A's scored 3 after that right hand went on the left shoulder of Chichi Gonzalez.
So Dan Iasonia comes out, has a quick chat, and he breaks it up. Maddox back to the dugout, and Brett Lawrie steps in. Bases loaded, 2 outs. A's with a 1-0 lead, looking for something big here in the first.
8 consecutive out of the strike zone, and see what. Yep.
It's skied to left center. It's hit well. Martin going back, and that baby is gone. And that's a first inning grand slam, and that's a 5-0 lead for the A's. That thing got up into the wind and just took off.
Third for him, 4th for the A's this year, and none bigger than that one. And Cobb just couldn't get the words out of my mouth. 8 consecutive pitches out of the strike zone and a hanging curveball first pitch to Brett Lawrie. He is pumped. So
5-0.
And the 2 outs too, to be able to the grand slam anyway.
And there's a base hit for Simeon.
Well, you could either be aggressive or passive. If you're hitting after 2 hitters have walked in front of you on 8 consecutive pitches out of the strike zone, a hanger, and we have seen, Kipe, how many times can a slow curve speed up the bat, especially Brett Lawrie, and it sped his up to the point that he didn't waste any time and drove it. And it did not take long to get out over the bullpen in left center field.
So home run number 7 for Lawrie. He now has 35 RBIs. So he's batted around here in the first after the Simeon base hit. So 2 doubles, a single, 2 walks, and a home run. In the dirt, blocked by Corcoran. From Kendall Graveman. It's got a nice cushion.
And the nice thing about this place, you don't have to worry about getting loose. He can sit in the dugout for an hour, still walk out, take his warm-up tosses, and be ready to go.
St. Paul called out on strikes, and that ends the first, but it was a good first for the A's thanks to Brett Lawrie, a grand slam. A's score 5 times in the top of the first. 5-0. Here come the Rangers in the bottom of the first. Odor, Rua, Fielder, Beltre, Moreland, Gallo, Andrus, Martin, and Corcoran.
Kendall Graveman, a nice 5 spot before he takes the mound. That's always great to be on the road to have that kind of offensive support. Graveman faced the Rangers in his first major league start. That, of course, was against the Rangers in the opening week of the regular season, and the Rangers beating badly. So tonight, a little bit different story for him as he's facing a ball club and in the hot weather, but he grew up in Alabama, went to Mississippi State, and he said, "I'd like this kind of weather. It does not take long to get loose, and he's going to have to take advantage of this 5-run first inning." Sonia did not like the fact that the Rangers are yelling, and Bannister didn't like the fact that the second pitch was called a strike in the lower part of the strike zone. And this is the pitch that he was referencing.
One of those nights, bro.
Was last night. Might be a series. Who knows?
1-2 to Odor. Tapped slowly. Laurie in front of Simeon. And Odor is limping to first, and he could be injured. So we'll see if Odor is okay.
Well, you try to think about getting out of the box quickly, and rolled his left ankle. Wow. Tried to push off and rolled it. Watch the left ankle, the back foot. Right there.
Saw Brandon Moss do that.
Yes.
Oh, pretty bad. So here's Rua. Rua playing right field. Shin-Soo Choo is not in the lineup again tonight. He's got a bad back. Well, I shouldn't say a bad back. He's got some back spasms. So he's trying to work through that. So he's trying to rest that and see if Choo plays tomorrow.
It's a big bat out of the lineup,
yeah.
And an expensive bat. And of course, you sign a player to a long-term contract for a lot of money. You want to see him in the lineup, especially a non-catcher or pitcher. I say that, 2 positions that usually 35 starts, 34 for a starter, starting pitcher, and maybe 130, 35 starts for a catcher. But an infielder, outfielder, you expect a little bit more.
So 2-2 the count with Prince Fielder waiting in the on-deck circle. Sinker low, full count. Rua 182. He's got a home run. 6 hits and 33 at bats. 3-2 pitch is bounced to Laurie, who dives, makes a nice play, gets up, throws, got him. Good first inning for Brett Laurie.
I guess if we were given an MVP for a game, he would have it in the first inning.
First inning MVP.
That's right. Grand slam, and then a great play diving to his left, and thinking about a base hit, but Brett Laurie just seems like it's his night and taking everything that's close to him.
So with 2 outs, here's Prince Fielder. Big shift is on. Zobrist is about 20 feet out into the outfield grass.
Well, Brett, great range. Simeon going behind him at shortstop. It would have been a longer throw for him. Simeon had he come up with it, or if they'd gotten past Brett Laurie, but he ranges far to his left and his right.
1-1 to Fielder, who is hitting .338 with 11 home runs and 47 RBIs. Outfield shifted a little bit toward left field, and it's hit that way. It's hit well left center. Canna is back there, and Canna's got it. Side retired. So a 3-up, 3-down inning for Kendall Graveman, and he does that after his team scores 5. Chavez last night. Not only did we get him off the hook, we got him something he deserved, because there's been so many times he's the guy left out there with no support with a team that can score some runs. So he's right. He's have scored quite a few runs this year. What a surprise. Billy Burns got a hit, Ray.
And it's that extra base hit, too, because he's going to continue to run. An easy double for Billy Burns going to the opposite field. And you have to talk fast because he'll swing fast and will not waste any time, as he just did. And starts this second inning like he started the first, with a double fastball right down the middle, and Billy Burns opposite field. So already a multi-hit game for him. 2 innings, 2 at-bats, 2 doubles, and trying to score another run. But Jesse, as you look at the numbers, and I said, how was it last night? He said, this place is brutal. Talking about the heat. And he went 5 innings. Oh, yeah, exactly. And, you know, and with Chichi Gonzalez, as we saw him in the 6th inning last night, when he hit Billy Butler, he just lost it. He just completely lost it. And he actually made the comment that the heat got to him. And I'm thinking, you're going to play all your home games here, and you're going to have to endure this heat every time you pitch here, especially from June on, or actually May on. But he looks like he has a pretty good idea. But last night, fortunately, the A's got to him. 2 losses for the young man, both against the A's.
So 1-1 the count to Canna. So Jesse Chavez now on the year 4-6 with that very good 2.90 ERA. So the ERA may have gone up a little bit last night, but he got a W, and that was the most important thing. Canna hit a ground ball to the second baseman in the first inning, but he did it with Burns at second, and it got Burns over to third.
And just the little things, giving yourself up. And of course, that's an at-bat. It's not a sacrifice, but he did a good job getting Burns there. And while at the time you thought, well, you get 1 run, infield played in, the A's got the run thanks to the boat double, but they ended up scoring 5, and maybe just the unselfishness of Canna in the inning helped it.
And this one's hit to right center. That's hit well. Martine's going back, and he's got just enough room in deep right center field. But again, a very productive out as Burns goes to third. So give Mark Canna credit, not only hitting the ball to the right side, doing what you're supposed to do, but putting a charge into it.
And he's going to get some high fives, some handshakes because of this at bat. And you're right, Martine, of course, does a very good job in center field. But it's thinking of the speed of Billy Burns, and he should have been tagging on that one all the way. That's nobody out, so that's a good time to tag. But I think with his speed, the ball hit like that, he could possibly at times score from second. Because if the outfielder does not get the ball back in quickly and kind of assumes it's only going to be 1 base, if he runs hard to third, Mike Diago might send it. He has that kind of speed.
Well, especially if there's any juggle from the cutoff man.
That's right.
Like that. 2-0 now to Vogt. So there's that RBI leaderboard now, with Vogt picking up RBI number 52 in the first inning. Prince Fielder's on there. Outside, 3-0. Wandy Rodriguez, I think, he wanted that pitch, but it looked like it was clearly outside a little bit. And that one at the knees for a strike. Vogt's double in the first went to left center field. This one's tapped past Odor into right field. That's a base hit. It's another RBI for Vogt, and the A's lead 6-0. Well, with the infield in, maybe a little topspin on that ball, and Odor just could not get it.
And after hitting a curveball 2-2 his first at bat, figured on 3-1 he's going to get a fastball, loaded up a little bit earlier. And because of the load, aggressively going after the ball. And you're right, Kai, for the topspin, once it hits the ground right there, it picks up speed, and really not much chance for anybody to do anything with it. A little surprised that maybe Odor didn't dive for the ball, but could not tell, and have to look at it again to see if Billy Burns is going on contact. Stephen Vogt got it done again.
Zobrist takes a strike. 0-2. Zobrist grounded out to second in the first inning. So on June 24th, Stephen Vogt leads the American League in RBIs. How about that?
That's great. Okay, he's playing through a lot of hurt, if you will. Again, gets the chance to play first base tonight, and then more likely to be catching tomorrow. The Rangers did flip-flop last night's starter and tonight's starter, and Stephen, who had the off day Monday, and it was supposed to be their left-hander last night, he's going to have that day off instead. The righty Fegley got a chance to start, did a great job.
Martin goes back, still going back, and he's got it. Another long out by the A's. So right now, Wandy Rodriguez is really fooling nobody. The A's are getting very good swings off him. And outs are deep outs.
And you know, Kip, if you're facing a pitcher for the first time and you go in with a plan, and I think what we've seen, and granted it's just the second inning, but the A's do seem like they have a plan of what they're going to be doing. They're not going after the baseball, and that's the critical part about hitting. You let the ball come to you, and especially if a pitcher does not throw hard.
Fegley drives into right center. That one's hit well, and that baby's gone. Wow. Josh Fegley, a 2-run homer, and it's 8-0. The A's lead, and they are just teeing off on Wandy Rodriguez.
And you talk about an effortless swing. We saw it last night. We've seen it now with the 5th home run. The 2 catchers in the lineup, and both have done well tonight. That's 4 runs batted in between the 2 backstoppers. One at first, one catching, and this just an effortless, easy swing. And this ball jumps off his bat, and watch the fan in right, actually catching the ball, and he no more. He has to get rid of it.
That's a good relay. That's a very good relay.
Hey, if David Renetti were here, guess what? That guy would be gone because David won't allow that to Coliseum. He made to catch it and get rid of it. In fact, it wasn't even to second base.
Nice job. Yeah, there's that young man that made that catch. He's there every game, and he catches most of the balls that go into center field. There's usually a big rush for the ball onto the berm out there, the grassy knoll. But that guy right there has been doing that for many years. They call him the Worm.
He must have hurt his arm because he's rubbing his right arm, you know. So he must have.
He's famous in that.
He must have unleashed it so quickly he pulled maybe rotator cuff or something.
So Billy Butler chases a high pitch and ends the inning, but more runs for the A's. A 3 spot and another home run. Josh Fegley, 2-run homer. He's hot, and the A's lead 8-0 after an inning and a half. 3 in the second. Kendall Graveman had a 3-up, 3-down first inning as he faces Beltre, Moreland, and Gallo. First pitch, sinker for a strike. In between innings, home plate umpire Dan Iasonia was again having words with the Rangers dugout. Not sure what you could possibly be yelling about. That one's belted to deep left center. It's hit a ton, but Canna's there. He's at the wall, and he makes the catch. So nice play by Canna on a deep drive from Beltre. So this is what was going on in between innings. A little bit. In last inning, they were arguing as well. I'm in charge is what Dan Iasonia said, so we know that. So, sort of looked like one of those teenage arguments, you know, where you just keep pointing at each other and, you know, it's your fault. No, it's your fault.
What you and Dwayne did?
So I hope they get along for the rest of the game. Zobrist under his glove. I think he would have had a tough play to make to get Moreland, although Moreland is not running well at all and may have come into play, but Zobrist just could not quite come up with it.
Well, as deep as he was playing, and really Eric Sogard might be the one of the few infielders that we know of who actually takes ground balls in the outfield because of the shift and playing very deep as he did last night for Prince Fielder. And also with Moreland, when nobody was on base, turned a big double play in the 9th inning, did Sogard to start it. He is the night off with a lefty on the mound.
So here's Gallo, who swings and misses, and the count is 0-1. Gallo 221, 5 homers, 10 RBIs. He had a hit last night. It was a double. Also struck out a couple of times. Gallo made a big splash when he was called up. In fact, his first game, remember, he had a homer, a double, a single, 4 RBIs. Got off to a good start, but lately, not so much. He's 3 for his last 28 with 15 strikeouts. So, sounds like the pitchers have made a little adjustment early on Gallo, so he's going to have to make his own adjustment. He's striking out at an alarming rate right now.
Well, if he doesn't adjust the hard swing, their adjustments will not come, and they'll just really expose some of the deficiencies.
That one is hooked foul.
Did get a chance to talk to Dave Magadan, the excellent hitting coach of the Rangers, and I said, how do you deal with it?
Yeah.
You know, he said, first of all, he's got to play, and he said he has to realize that this level, that all the negatives about you will be exposed. Sure. And the big swing, the uppercut swing, and you know, and how he's been pitched, and things will happen at this level. You know, it came from Double-A straight to the big leagues, and Dave said that he needs to play, and we may see when Josh Hamilton comes back, he may be sent to Triple-A and get some at-bats there. But as long as he has that long, aggressive swing, even with 2 strikes, this is a 2-strike swing. I mean, that is a full out swing, and this ball's sinking down and away, and that's the pitch that he's vulnerable. And, you know, with the uppercut swing, with the ball down, can't get under it.
And listen, he's a very talented young man, and he's got the kind of power that very, very few players have. But he would still have that type of power if, or maybe he shortened his swing a little bit. Semien with a nice play, throws to second, and they got him. Heck of a play by Marcus Semien. He's doing everything right so far as they lead 8-0 after 2 innings.
It'll be Laurie Simeon in full. Laurie with a grand slam in the first. Hit it to the back of the bullpen in deep left center field. It was a towering drive, and I think the height of the ball was a good thing for Laurie, because I do think it got up in that wind a little bit, and he hit it well, and I think that wind just helped it even more. Great month of June for Laurie, 353 average. So June boom is right.
Yeah.
No June gloom or June swoon. 1-2 the count to Laurie, who now has 7 homers and 35 RBIs.
I think his teammates are really appreciating the energy that he brings every day when he comes to the park, and it's kind of infectious in the sense that when he has the energy, they kind of want to follow him. Hanging breaking ball, a 4th grand slam of the season for the Athletics, all 4 coming on the road. It's the big one, probably the biggest. Ben Zobrist in Detroit, the big comeback. Of course, this one tonight, outstanding.
Fastball on the inside corner gets Laurie looking. 3rd strikeout for Wandy Rodriguez.
I don't think that Brett Laurie thought it was a strike. Fastball inside, and he's ready to take another pitch, and I think he just agreed.
First pitch to Simeon is a strike. Simeon had a base hit in the first inning. Hayes with 7 hits so far in the game. .273 the average for Marcus. Up to Beltre, who takes care of it, and that's the second out.
Follow the Athletics all season in 2015 with MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment at any moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcast, statcast, and more. Get MLB.com at Bat for your smartphone or your tablet.
2 outs for Fold. Fold was called out on strikes to end the first inning. And now 2-0. Fold getting a start in right field.
I think this also could be a day off for Josh Reddick's been playing quite a bit, and played last night when he charged the ball, ended up going over his head, and gets the night off tonight against the lefty. Had been hitting 4th, 3rd, 4th, 5th. And with the day game tomorrow following this night game, maybe a chance to get him off his feet and be ready to go tomorrow against Kobe Lewis, who has pitched well against the A's throughout his career.
Odor knocks it down, fires to first, not in time. And that should be an error. So Odor cannot field it. That ball may have come up a little bit on him.
When you're a second baseman, you have plenty of time, even if you bobble it in the outfield grass. And Sam Fold did not assume it was going to be an easy out. And I think you're right. It came up and hit him in the face and the head, and it's called a bad hop. And
so it's an error.
It's an error, but you know, sometimes you have to look at a bad hop hitting the guy in the face, and it came up like that. That is definitely considered a bad hop.
Yeah, that's a. I agree. You could conceivably give him a hit on that.
Yeah. I think I remember Tony Kubek many years ago playing for the Yankees and got a ball in the throat on a bad hop. I don't think they gave him an error.
And if a ball takes a hop, you're right, that hits you in the shoulder and the net, that immediately eliminates it being anything close to an ordinary play.
Exactly. And you can't penalize, or you shouldn't be able to penalize a fielder for the bad hop that comes up. It's not like he created that hop. It hit something, and he was lucky that he put his hand up and kind of knocked it down and before it maybe hit his face.
One pitch, swing and a miss on a slider down there. And I think a lot of balls that an infielder misses that look fairly routine, they usually do come up a little bit. You just take a little bit of a bad hop, but that one was an extreme hop. Swing there by Burns, fouls it back. Burns has doubled twice and scored twice, so he has done his thing from the leadoff spot. Where would the A's be without Billy Burns? That's a frightening thought.
And I think, Kip, we all agree he's going to get better. I mean, he
has already.
He has, but he's.
Andrus has it. He'll go to second. Late. Everybody's safe. And the inning continues.
Another infield hit.
And Andrus, he made the right decision. He was not going to get Burns at first.
Okay, this is what the speed of Billy Burns has done, because Andrus knew no chance to get Burns, and the only possibility chance to get the runner at second base. Good hustle again by Sam Fuld, not only getting down the line on the air, but I think Billy realized where the ball was hit. They were going to try to get the runner at second.
So infield hit, his 22nd of the year. His total hits now 67.
So he's had three at bats.
Third of his hits.
3 at bats, 3 innings. He's going to be 9 for 9 tonight.
That's right. He's on his way.
Yeah. And that's a 2-strike hit. He had an 0-1 pitch that he hit for double in his first at bat. First pitch hitting the second. Mark Canha now can forget about moving the runners, try to hit on his own.
Yeah, Canha has done a nice job of getting the runner over in the first 2 innings. But although, you know, he's got good power to right field.
Yes, he does.
Shown that he hits the ball that way with authority. In the dirt.
8 home runs for Mark Canha, as we have mentioned, all 8 coming against the right-handed pitcher. Good approach, though. He seems to get better himself in his rookie season, the Rule 5, and getting a chance to play a lot more than some Rule 5 players would with ball clubs.
And those 8 home runs among rookies in the American League, it's second most. Souza has the 14 that we talked about a little bit last night.
Says it all right there. And 299 against the right-handers with the 8 home runs.
So behind in the count right here, 1-2. Good rip at a fastball, a little bit in maybe. 71 pitches for Wandy Rodriguez with 2 outs in the third.
He pulls the hands in as well as anybody, and at least found it back. Could have done more damage with it.
And he chased a breaking ball, and that'll do it for the A's in the third. They do not score. They strand a couple. Bottom of the third coming up 8-0. The A's lead.
California is brought to you by Sonoma Raceway. Don't miss the Toyota Save Mart 350 and Jeff Gordon's final race. It's June 26th through the 28th at Sonoma Raceway. Visit racesonoma.com for tickets. So that's coming up this weekend. Martin, Corcoran, and Odor for the Rangers. Kendall Graveman with an 8-0 lead. He's given up one hit through the first 2 innings. Right, Ray, there's an art to pitching with the lead.
Yes, absolutely. Maybe the hardest thing to do. I always used to constantly remind a pitcher when they had a lead, just assume it's a 1-0 game or a scoreless game, and you have that mentality. Of course, you want to pitch a shutout.
Kendall Graveman in his last 3 starts has got an ERA of 1.64, but he's got 2 losses and a no decision.
In fact, his last 2 losses have come and given up a total of 3 runs, and all 3 have been a result of a home run. Pujols, Kemp, and Norris, and that's it. 2 losses. And then the Angels, 15 innings total, just 3 runs given up. Those numbers support the fact that not a lot of run support, but tonight he's got a bunch.
Well, that 3-start stretch, it started in Boston. Remember, he pitched extremely well, and then things just went wacko late in the game, and he was sitting on a win. Then it got away. This big hop. Zobrist takes care of Corcoran. 2 outs.
Yeah, that's a good point, Cap, because he gave up just 1 run in that game in 7, 1 run in 8 in the next start, 2 runs, 7 in the next start after that. So that nice little run of 3 consecutive games, no decision, 2 losses, and tonight trying to be appreciative of the run support in the first couple of innings, and I guess the goal, you could say, pitch a shutout. He's giving up a hit, try to keep the Rangers off the board.
And Odor goes after the first pitch, skies it to Laurie, and a 6-pitch 3rd inning for Kendall Graveman, and he is rolling along. 4th inning coming up, 8-0 A's lead.
The clock to 1965 this Saturday, June the 27th, at then Kansas City Club. Featured Bert Cavaliers, John Bloom and Odom, who will both throw out the game ceremonial first pitches. 20,000 fans will receive a Charlie O throwback T-shirt. It's presented by Ross, which depicts the iconic A's mule mascot from the 60s and the 70s. So we look forward to that T-shirt. Look forward to seeing Monty Moore, Bert Campaneris, John Bloom and Odom. 50 years, Kansas City. That's also 50th anniversary of Campy Campaneris playing all 9 positions.
And got in a collision when he was the catcher.
Well, he was
Believe
smart.
that?
He was smart. He was a catcher last.
Both Zobrist and Fegley here in the fourth.
Because he said, if I'm going to get hurt, I don't want to catch first and have to not be able to play all positions. And he got hurt.
1-2 to Vogt, who has single, double, knocked in 2, scored 2. Did you see that A's fan we showed over the promo that you were reading? Young man with the yellow jersey on.
Oh, yeah.
He was here last night, and it's the guy we showed eating the boomstick. Yeah,
That's
that was
the boomstick
That's
guy.
him right there. He was just crushing a boomstick last night, and then we showed him a couple innings later, and he looked like he needed a nap, and he probably did.
And right now, it looks like he needs another boomstick.
He's making that decision because a boomstick, it's all about really, are you going to make the commitment, right? I mean, because it is a commitment. And he made it last night, and we hope he's okay. But he's back tonight, and he's sporting the gold jersey, which we like. That could be his right there. He could have it on order.
I mean, if you have one, you have to come back and get another.
Oh, he may not be able to. Beltre cannot make the play, and Zobrist is safe. Beltre. The throw pulled Moreland off. I think Zobrist was going to be safe anyway.
And I think the ball might have been fouled if Zobrist or if Beltre had let it roll. Maybe not. It was close to the bag, so he had to make the decision. Gold Glove third baseman, and Zobrist smelling the base hit, looking to see if it's going to be made. The play was made, and it's stretched by Moreland. Beltre just returning last night for the first time after spending quite a bit of time on the disabled list.
So here's Fegley, another very hot hitter. Fegley tonight, a walk and a 2-run homer. So he homered last night, he had 3 RBIs. Outside, 1-1 the count. Big swing. Fegley is trying to leave the yard again.
One of the impressive things about hitters, players at this level, there's so many things that you have to adapt to, changes, and curveball he just pulled off on the pitch a little bit, but as he was telling us, Coliseum, about it, he'd made some changes. But Darren Bush, he's hitting coach, and kind of a 2-strike approach from the beginning of the at-bat, and he has shown that. And he is strong, and really he does not need to stride that much. Just take it and what you're getting. Darren Bush, of course, hitting coach for the first year this year. Been down in the bullpen. Charlie Davis going to Boston, so a good chance for Darren Bush to show his ability as the hitting coach.
So 1-2 the count. That one's hit hard, and that's fair. Down the third base line off the sidewall. Rua gets to it quickly. He throws to third, and the tag is in time, and they just got Zobrist. Well, Beltre had a scramble back to the bag, and he almost didn't get there. It was a very close play. The A's will take a look at it.
Gallo with the ball hitting on the sidewall, hit and came right back to him. And you're right, as Beltre went for the ball. And I guess they're going to let it stand. And with the ball, I mean, that's what you hope as an outfielder. And it looked like he looked up and saw that Fegley was not going for 2. That would have been the play to make. Well, does his foot get on the bag first? It's elevated. It might have been safe. He came off the bag.
So 7-5 on the putout. Fegley gets the hit.
What?
And Beltre holding the tag may have helped him there. Into the corner. In the end, it's foul. Butler hit that ball a long ways right down the right field line. So the count 1-1. Butler has walked and scored, and he has struck out. 2 outs here in the top of the 4th. A's leading 8-0.
Meanwhile, Josh Phegley just smoked another one.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a strong young man. I think he is showing it, even with a couple of strikes, how aggressive he was on the pitch, and the 2-strike approach that he has with 2 strikes, but also starting the at bat has really helped him.
Hey, give this to him.
Getting a chance to play last night against the righty, tonight against the lefty. Stephen Vogt, also the other catcher at first base tonight.
And that one is there for strike 3-2.
They're going to hold Phegley on the 3-2, 2 outs. Figured Butler was going to pull the ball.
Butler with a big swing. Hits it high and foul. The A's now with 10 hits in the game. In fact, through 4 innings, everybody's been on base at least once except for Canna, and Canna's had 2 productive outs. So.
Yeah, you could get actually 2 for 2 for him, or 2 for 3 a couple of times, giving himself up.
And that one is way outside, and Butler walks for the 2nd time.
Now batting third baseman Brent Laurie.
So that's 3 walks for Wandy Rodriguez. He's got 4 strikeouts.
Once again, Wandy Rodriguez wiping his brow with the perspiration of the warmth. It was about 93, 94 at first pitch tonight. Thing is down on the field.
And then hit the umpire. So Laurie's going to get a hit, right?
Yeah.
I've got Dale Scott, the crew chief, pretty good. And he's going to walk it off a little bit. I think the training for the Rangers is going to come out, see if he's okay.
Well, he's in a position where the second base umpire will set up, and he took it flush. And I think Odor probably thinking, see where Odor's playing behind him, he's moving to his left as the ball is hit, and it probably would have been an out. But Dale Scott right there taking it on, looked like on the left quad.
So it's a hit.
Yep.
It's a hit for Laurie.
And a hit for Dale Scott.
Right in the left hip.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you think of, you get hit by a pitch, it's 90 miles an hour. A line drive off a bat is, well, it's that speed and maybe more.
Yeah, he's going to come out. Yeah.
I mean, that's a direct shot. Well, let's hope Dale Scott's okay. So we will go with 3 umpires now. So the 2 base umpires will have to move around a little bit, but they're well schooled to do this.
Yeah. Well, the 2 umpires in the middle of the field say, okay, now what do we do? Now, this is a spring training game. Now, the first base umpire will stay at first. The third base umpire is the one that's going to roll between third and second.
He's got the tough job.
Yeah, but you always have to have a first base umpire there. And, of course, in this situation, bases loaded. That means a home plate umpire also has to get involved. But you're right. I mean, this is something they work on in umpiring school. And usually in spring training, a lot of times there's just a 3-man crew.
So 0-1 to Marcus Semien, who has singled and grounded to third. Bounce toward Beltre. He's got it. He'll go the short way. Side retired. So the A's leave the bases loaded. We're going to the bottom of the fourth. It'll be Rua, Fielder, and Beltre. 8-0. The A's lead.
July home games for just $89 with a July ballpark pass. For one low price, you get access to all 13 A's home games in July, including 2 fireworks games and the Hello Kitty bobblehead night. This is a mobile-only offer with all passes accessed through your iPhone or Android phone. Get yours today at athletics.com/ballparkpass. Is that Max Muncy in the stands? Looks like maybe his brother. Max from the local area. He and Michael Choice back with the ball club.
I saw that.
Michael and Max Muncy played against each other as they're both residents near the ballpark here in Arlington, 10 to 15 miles away.
Rangers just called up Michael Choice. They sent Alex Claudio, the left-hander who saw last night. They sent him back to the minor leagues.
Working on calming down his windup. Claudio, he's got a lot of moving parts in his deception.
Rua reaches for it and pops it to shallow left. And Canna comes hustling in to make the catch. So Kendall Graveman just kind of mowing right through the Rangers with an 8-0 lead. That's nice to see. Seems to be in complete control. He's allowed just 1 hit, no walks, 1 strikeout in just 32 pitches. Of course, in the 3rd inning, he threw just 6.
And even though he lost his last 2 games, giving up just 3 runs on 3 home runs, I would say that has helped him pitching now, and even with the big lead, because he's had to pitch with not a lot of run support. One time Prince Fielder goes against the shift. And a base hit to left field. So Semien on the second base side of second. And then Laurie in the shortstop position. That ball hit past the third base position. That's why he's hitting close to 340, now 338 coming into tonight's game.
So the 1-out single brings up Beltre. Beltre hits it hard. Semien, nice play out at second. Throw to first, and that's a double play. That was a 5-pitch inning for Kendall Graveman. was Drew Pomeranz last night. The A's needed a big night from their bullpen, and they got it. And it was Pomeranz who, when it was all said and done, picked up his first career save. He threw 28 pitches. He got the final 5 outs. So the bullpen did a great job last night, led by Drew Pomeranz. And that group was our T-Mobile Game Changers. Just one unearned run allowed by the bullpen. Sam Fuld goes after the first pitch from the new pitcher. And Andrus has it. So when it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up, your oil change, tune-up, and repair experts. It's Anthony Bass, who threw an inning last night, 20 pitches. So he takes over for Wandy Rodriguez, who has a start that he would just as soon move past. 4 innings, 11 hits, 8 runs. 94 pitches in 4 innings. Here's Billy Burns. Billy Burns, a double, a single, and 2 runs scored. Andrus again toward the seats, and he's got just enough room to make the catch.
He can say with a lot of pride that he has now faced every team in the major leagues, but tonight, after just 4 innings and 11 hits, 8 runs, he may not be talking too much about it, but I guess if he has a bucket list, the A's are off the bucket list. Wandy Rodriguez. Of course, so many injured starting pitchers. Yu Darvish went out this year. He is out for the season, and they will hope to get him back sometime next year. Harrison and Holland. So 3 bona fide major league starting pitchers on the disabled list.
Canna again drives one to right, and he's got a base hit. So Mark Canna gets his first hit. 2-out single here in the 5th.
Now Holland is not. He's just not pitching. I think I misspoke there, but did not speak correctly by saying that. But Holland, well, yes, he is. But he said the A's would not face him, but he is not active. Still on the 60-day with a shoulder. Hamilton, Perez. Actually, Perez is another starting pitcher. Vitaly Feliz been in the closing.
Martin Perez made a rehab start today, a day game, and Josh Hamilton played in his first rehab game. So those guys are getting close. In fact, Hamilton, I can't imagine he's going to be in the minor leagues a whole lot, maybe 2-3 games. I bet he's back by maybe this weekend. Next week we'll probably see Josh Hamilton back in the Rangers.
And that's what I'd heard, Cap, is that next week he's wanting to come back, and just a matter if the Rangers will want to make sure he plays a number of games so when he comes back he's 100%.
Inside to Stephen Vogt. He's 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs scored. He's now with 12 hits after the Canna single. He's had 11 hits and 8 runs last night. They are rolling. Coming into this game, 62 runs scored in the last 9 games. And they got 8 already tonight. Breaking ball, strike 3 called, and that will do it for the A's. So they get a hit and run a left. Bottom of the 5th coming up. It's the Athletics 8 and the Rangers nothing.
It's brought to you by Prism. Now your team can collaborate at a whole new level with video walls from Prism. Learn how at prism.com. Globe Life Park has been all A's tonight, 8-0 in the bottom of the 5th inning. Kendall Graveman has allowed just a couple of hits,
averaging 8.5 pitches per inning. And
that's about as good as you're going to get.
Yeah, you're looking at 9-11, and you got a complete game, and he is well ahead of that.
First pitch to Moreland is a little breaking ball, drops in first strike. Moreland, Gallo, and Andrus here in the bottom of the 5th. Angels beat the Astros. We mentioned that earlier, 2-1 in 13 innings out in Anaheim. Tyler Featherston had the game-winning single in the 13th. So the Angels take 2 out of 3 from the first place Astros. The Astros will head home and they will host the Yankees for a 4-game series this weekend. And the Angels now 4.5 games back of Houston after that win. Zobrist waits, gets a nice hop. And Zobrist knows that Moreland is not running well, so he has plenty of time.
Well, last night we saw him trying to score, or at least the ball that was hit to right center. He is not running well at all. And to your point about Josh Hamilton, because he has a hamstring injury, if they're watching Moreland, they may say to Josh Hamilton, before we activate you, we're going to make sure you can run. Because once you're activated, as the case of Mitch Moreland, you can't deal it. I mean, they could because he's not running that well, but I'm sure he wants to play. Left-handed bat. But with Ben Zobrist, whenever he came back after having knee surgery, it took quite a while, but the A's wanted to make sure that he was okay. He seemed to be running well. He's getting some scheduled days off. Left field last night, second base tonight.
Gallo with a liner and in front of Full, who throws to first, and Vogt. Stephen Vogt was like, wait, what are you doing? He was backpedaling, trying to get to first, because Sam Foltz said, you know what, I'm going to come up throwing here.
And it was a hard line drive, one hop. Sam Foltz had in his mind to come up quickly, throw. He's got a strong arm. And Stephen Vogt, I think that was the surprise of the night there. He goes down to block it like a catcher, and he said, what are you doing?
Killing me, Sam. You're killing me. So that's hit number 3, and here's Andrus, who takes a sinker first strike.
And Delaire just reminds us about the Ryan Sweeney in Cleveland, and he threw out a guy at first base, and the bases were loaded, and the guy was saying, I got a base hit, and all of a sudden he's thrown out.
Don't remember who that was.
Yeah.
1-1 to Andrus.
Plonk.
Martin. Yeah, it's possible.
Good plonk.
Martin to follow.
Travis Haffner.
Shallow. Left. Canna dives, and he cannot quite come up with it. It'll be a hit for Andrus. A long run for Mark Canna. He got a glove on it.
His shoulder a little bit as he's made a great effort and almost able to come up with the ball and sit off the end of the bat by Elvis Andrus. And when you have an 8-0 lead, you can afford to take a chance. He does. Almost came up with it. Great effort, diving, and
so the Rangers had something going for the first time against Graveman. Martin hit a ground ball to Zobrist back in the 3rd inning. Rory right in on the grass, and the first pitch is bounced foul at the plate. Martin chased the pitch that looked like it was low. Martin really struggling. He averaged down to 233. He's got 2 hits in his last 26 at bats.
I guess when you get into those numbers, start thinking, am I ever going to get another hit?
Yeah.
Start wondering. A little bit outside, 2-1.
See, I think if a hitter just thought, okay, I'm in a slump, so this is maybe 20-25 outs that I'm going to make on my 400 of the season.
That's true. I'm just making them quicker than
right. Yeah. They don't look at it that way, but there's a lot of truth to it. Over the course of a season, you'll make a lot of outs and you get your share of hits. Just a matter of how you approach those at bats and when it's not falling in. And of course, Andrus just hits ball off the end of the bat. This is the first time tonight there's been a runner at second base. Just looking at that, so not surprising. And Graveman and Fegley going through a number of signs, multiple signs with a runner at second, and not on the same page.
Gallo and Andrus are the runners, and this one's hit in the air, left center. And Canna, who's been busy, gets to that one, fires it back in, 2 outs.
In tonight's game, Sam Fuld has been the one to play left field, so he moves to right field because Canna is a little bit more comfortable in left field. So for Sam Fuld, the center fielder is playing really all 3 outfield positions. And then talking to Sam, when he's played left with Burns in center, and I'm sure the same in right field, he has to kind of temper his aggressiveness because he has the nickname of Super Sam for a reason, but really he knows as a center fielder, it's the center fielder who takes charge. And as we noted in Oakland, Billy was a little bit hesitant about going after a ball in left center.
I want to know to Corcoran, who grounded out to Zobrist. Corcoran, a switch hitter. Rips that one fair, headed for the right field corner. 1 run scores. Andrus, the back runner's being waved home. The throw to the plate is a bit up the line, and it's a 2-run double for Carlos Corcoran, and the Rangers are on the board. So now 8-2.
2-out hit too. That comes at a time that a pitch that was a little bit too good in the middle of the plate to Corcoran, and he reacted, and with 2 outs, both runners able to be on the move. And Zobrist thought he might have a chance, but Elvis Andrus runs too well.
So Corcoran gets his 12th and 13th RBIs of the year. And now top of the order, Rougned Odor. Sinker down and away to Odor, who is 0 for 2. And a big night last night. 3 for 4, a homer, a double, and a walk. It's that one fouled on the first base line.
You know, Odor hit the home run last night, talking to Jesse Chavez, and it's interesting, and you being a pitcher, he's talking about everything was coming through kind of cutting instead of having the hand released straight down or to the side. And, you know, one of the things that he just talked about, it was the release point. And to Odor, he said, not the guy you want to leave in the middle of the plate with an aggressive hitter, and he did.
And this is it. Look where the pitch is.
Right there. I mean, as he said, he's an aggressive hitter, and, you know, he tried to get the ball to sink away, but his release point with his hand, he said he fought with it all night. It's something that he has been able to make adjustments throughout the season when he's made starts, but In that particular case last night, he was able to pitch 5 innings. He got a win and admitted that it was very hot, as we all know, pitching in this park.
So 3-1 to Odor. 2 runs on 3 hits so far in the inning for Texas. And that one missed outside, and it's a walk. Walk issued by Grave, and he's got 1 strikeout. He had complete control of the pitches, or the pitch count through the first 4 innings, with 21 here in the 5th.
Well, the one constant from everybody, training staff, coaches, players, hydrate when you come in to play the Rangers. And it's not drinking a lot of liquids when you get here, it's hydrating before you come.
Yeah, you and I hydrated. You started on the plane, and you just keep drinking water.
You have to, and I think for the pitchers, especially pitchers and catchers, and the infielders and outfielders, a lot of times they stand around. They don't want to. They want to be active, and the A's have been active tonight with double plays turned and Semien good plays at shortstop. But I think more than anything, the guys will be very happy to get on the plane tomorrow after the game to head back to Bay Area.
But what you will see, Ray, many times is after the game, players going out of the clubhouse onto the bus, they'll have a bag of bottled water.
That's right.
Each guy.
Yeah.
Drink some before you go to bed.
Ike Davis has it right there. He's hydrating as we speak.
So 1-0 to Rua, who is 0 for 2. And that one right there for a strike. Rua 0 for 6 in the series.
Also, one thing, a pitcher who gets an 8-0 lead after really an inning and a half. He's thinking, bullpen used last night, although Clippard available tonight, but really it's a start. You say you want to go at least 8 and maybe turn it over for the 9th, but you want to give the bullpen a chance to rest because of the quick turnaround for tomorrow's game.
Laurie missed it. Semien gets it, and they got the out at second base, and they're going to look at it. Laurie dove for it. Semien was there. He grabbed it quickly through to second. And it was a close play. We'll see what the Rangers are going to do. Jeff Bannister waiting for the call from Boucher.
Well, wants the dive.
And he's going to look at it.
Yeah. And then Semien, of course, a huge play for the Rangers, and just a matter of, is it conclusive or not?
Yeah, this is a big play.
Yeah.
I mean, Prince Fielder's your next hitter.
The stretch by Zobrist is the key, and
he's out.
Yeah, he is out, and you can't definitively say. I mean, of course, a different view on Diamond Vision they're looking at, fans reacting, but
that replay there showed closer.
Yeah.
The first replay looked like he was out. The second replay looked like he was safe. What did that tell you?
Dale Scott is a crew chief, but he is out of the game. Hit in a line drive by Brett Laurie.
It'll either be 3 outs or the bases will be loaded for Prince Fielder. So that's why this is a huge call.
And that's probably why Jeff Bannister, like you said, just decided, let's do it, because it is big. Kendall Graveman, and you might as well assume the worst case and get on the mound and throw and try to stay loose.
This is the play where he actually looks. That's the play where he looks the safest.
Yeah.
I didn't say he looked completely safe, but this one looks out.
That's the center field shot, and
well, the original call was out, and that may be the savior for the A's in this one.
and this is That's the one we had in Oakland. It was 5 minutes and 14 seconds, the Sunday game, on the play that Greg Gibson at third. It took forever. And of course, New York, we do not know who's in New York. And this is where I think there should be an idea on the umpire or on the lineup sheet.
What's the big secret?
Yeah, who are the umpires in New York? Because they do rotate.
And he's out. So the call stands, and that is a huge play in this game. And even though it's 8-2, that's a huge play. So the Rangers get a couple of runs. We're headed to the 6th.
Saturday, June the 27th. Of course, that's the turn back the clock game against the Kansas City Royals. This popular post-game event features A's players sharing their testimonials, as well as a performance by the one and only Donnie Moore and his Radical Reality team. And remember, you must purchase a special ticket to participate in the festivities. For more information, go to athletics.com/faith. And it is a good Saturday all the way around. Turn back the clock, and of course, following the game, Donnie Moore. And again, if you have not seen Radical Reality team, be there for that. Testimony is by A's players. Should be a good weekend of baseball at the Coliseum starting Friday night.
So here's Zobrist leading it off in the 6th against Anthony Bass, his second inning of work. Fastball on the outside corner, first strike.
Now, Kaipe, if Prince Fielder hits a home run in the bottom of this inning, of course, you never know if that was going to happen, but that was a huge call at second base, and it's good to see the different angles and the old word definitive. Maybe that was part of that decision.
1-2. If you're just joining us, we're down an umpire. Dale Scott, the crew chief, got hit in the hip by a line drive off the bat of Laurie, and he had to leave the game.
And it's usually the umpire who makes the call and the crew chief who listens to New York. So the acting crew chief member with Dale Scott probably getting some treatment on the hip.
Zobrist tonight, a ground out, a fly ball to center, and a single. 1 for 3. That one bounced towards second. Old Brewer scoops it up. And that's the out. First out here in the 6th inning. Royals and the Mariners will play tonight. That'll be the rubber game of that 3-game series in Seattle. Duffy and Elias, a couple of lefties. Mariners will be at the Angels this weekend. Indians beat the Tigers today 8-2 to salvage the final game of that 3-game series. First major league home run for Francisco Lindor, the young Indian shortstop, who's very highly thought of. Quick 0-2 to Fegley, who's had a big night. Walk, homer, single. Setting up outside, and the slider is outside. Updated standings with the Angels beating the Astros. So 4.5 game lead. Rangers are now 3.5 back. Two to Fegley.
Well, you look at those standings and you think where the A's were in the first couple of months of the season and where they are now and how well they're playing, and realize how thankful you are that it's a 6-month season, 162 games.
Fegley one around. This is Gabe Morales. So 2 outs here in the 6th.
Well, top of the bat, head of the bat, just enough to go through for Gabe Morales. Through the short straw since he has the plate tomorrow in the series finale, and a beautiful sunny day in Arlington, Texas.
Not a lot of day games here, but you got to be ready when there is one. Butler taps it toward Beltre, and it's going to be an easy inning for Anthony Bass. So he's done a nice job. 2 innings of work. Bottom of the 6th coming up. 8-2, the A's lead.
They scored 5 on a slam by Brett Laurie on a hanging curveball first pitch. And for Laurie, his 3rd grand slam, to Josh Fegley with Stephen Vogt at first base. A home run to right center. The ball got back in the infield, and then Kendall Graveman, good job getting some strikeouts. First 4 innings, outstanding double play turn here, nicely started by Marcus Semien. So Kendall Graveman, 5 innings completed, and he's trying to pitch the 6th and keep the A's on the board. They have 8 runs on 12 hits. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PICK. AT&T, mobilizing your world.
So Graveman, 23 pitches last inning. It was his first extended inning. So we'll see if he can bounce back from that. 9 ground ball outs. That's always a great sign. Prince Fielder with a big swing in this. 1-1.
Cap last night, Chichi Gonzalez had 11 ground ball outs in the first 5 innings. Then they fell apart. When he hit Billy Butler with a fastball inside that opened up the big inning for the Athletics in the 6th, they knew something was going on. But he was a ground ball machine, and that's ideally what you want to see out of your pitcher in this park.
Fouled straight back. Prince Fielder was trying to go to left field on that, which he's done a lot of this year. .299 career home runs for Prince Fielder. Changeup 86 miles an hour.
Well, Prince Fielder does not strike out a lot. He finds a way to make contact. And think about Victor Martinez back active with the Detroit Tigers. I don't know if he ever strikes out.
He's back, right?
Yes, he is.
Graveman kicks, and the 1-2 pitch is linked over Simeon's head, and that's a base hit. It was a pretty good pitch by Graveman. So leadoff single here in the 6th inning.
And I think with Prince Fielder, if you play him straight up defensively, because he's going to do that with 2 strikes, and they're playing him to pull. He's not going to try to pull everything. He's going to take what is given, and that pitch outside. And nobody would have caught it anyway, but I think he is proving that you shift him to the right side and open up the left side, and you pitch him outside, he's not going to roll over.
So here's Beltre. Beltre taps that one foul, drops the bat. And that thumb injury probably still bothering him some. And it was his left thumb. So see, there's a little wrap, a little protective donut that sits in between his hands, which you don't see, really ever see that. And Laurie grabs it, and it's foul.
And that's the home plate umpire making the call with no third base umpire. And there's exactly what you're talking about, and trying to take the pressure off the left thumb. That's why that pad is in the middle of the 2 hands, because you put your hands together, the top hand is going to press down on your left hand, which is your thumb. So you have that separation, or the padding takes a little bit of that away.
So your hands actually separated a little bit, which I feel somewhat strange for Beltre.
Think of the great Dick McAuliffe, who played with the Tigers, had his hands separated a little bit like that.
And he swings and misses, and Graveman gets his 2nd strikeout.
He's feeling it too, and down and in, a great sinker. And you know, when you have the feeling, and you at least take your hand off one time, and then you start thinking about the gotcha. Is it going to happen again?
Well, and he has a fairly violent swing.
Yes. Good point.
So here's Moreland. Moreland takes a strike on the outside corner. He's with 5 runs in the very 1st inning, and then 3 more in the 2nd. So completely quieted. It was a pretty good crowd tonight.
The note on Wandy Rodriguez, the veteran, of course, not receiving a lot of run support this year either. I say either. Tonight received 0 while he's on the mound. He's had the 8-0 lead after the 4 innings in which he left.
Mitch Moreland has a single and a ground out. So he's 2 for 7 in this series. Pitch count still pretty good for Graveman. This will be number 70. And he got him with a sinker. Maybe a changeup. So back-to-back strikeouts at Beltre and Moreland.
Well, he's keeping the ball down low, and it's just a good sinker, Camp, and that's
hard sinker.
Yeah, and that's what makes it good, especially when he starts it there and it looks like a strike, and then when the bottom falls out, Moreland asking if the ball was foul tipped, and Fegley had the ball hit the dirt, but Dan Iasonia said no.
2 outs, and here's Gallo, who swings and misses.
And if you pitch him down in that zone, he'll never hit the ball. If he does, he's going to hit on top of it and hit a ground ball. It's kind of hard to get under with that thought uppercut swing on a low sinker.
Change up there, and it's 0-2. A couple of real good pitches by Graveman.
Stay down in that same zone. When you watch a hitter, he's telling you another changeup. Just keep it down.
Good pitch there on 0-2.
And the catcher wiggles his fingers. That's a changeup. Usually one's a fastball, different types of fastballs. Shook off the curve to go to the changeup.
Blocked nicely by Fegley. 2-2. So Graveman against left-handed batters. You look at the first 4 starts when he struggled. And now since he's come back from the minor leagues, the average against, and look at the ground ball percentage, is more than doubled.
Yep.
So you got left-handed hitters rolling over. That's what it is. Very close, 3-2.
And I saw one of the umpires that looks left or right for a pitch off the plate. And he looked left on this one. That was just off the plate, according to him. As he shoots a look to the left. And if you throw a sinker, keep it down. Whatever you throw, keep it down.
3-2 pitch, swing and a miss. He struck him out. So second time Gallo has struck out. 4 strikeouts for Kendall Graveman. We're on to the 7th. Still 8-2 A's lead. In a 5-1 defeat, Texas Rangers. Future Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson made his major league debut. How about that? Just 20 years old, singles, doubles, swipes a stolen base. The first of 1,406 stolen bases. What was his number? 39. You see
39 then, yeah, exactly.
That did last night. It was 1979.
Well, it was a memorable date also, Cat, because in that same date in 1970, Bobby Mercer hit 4 home runs in a doubleheader. And I called all 4.
Did you really?
Sam McDowell, first game of a doubleheader in Cleveland, or in New York. And Mercer in the last at bat hit a home run off Sam.
Yeah.
And then the second game, Mike Paul started, hit a home run his first at bat, walked second at bat, home run third at bat, home run fourth at bat. And I put the fingers down for everyone.
I should remind Mike of that when we see him.
Oh, yeah, I do. I remind him. Well, actually, he didn't give up all, and Fred Lasher came in and gave up the fourth. Yeah, he was pretty good. And that day, 1979, that was a day that a lot of catchers around baseball said, oh, no, because he could do it. All-time stolen base record, and Skipper Bob Melvin talking about Ricky and how he was part of the organization. And as the skipper said, I try to get him in Oakland as much as possible to talk to his players. Of course, he talks to the outfielders, talks to the base runners, base stealers. And Ricky can pick up a lot of things a pitcher is doing to help the base stealers try to swat the bat.
Laurie chases a high pitch. So that's out number one. Michael Choice, just brought up from the minor leagues, is now in right field. Ryan Rua now is at first base, and Mitch Moreland is out. So Choice will hit in Moreland's spot. So the first pitch to Simeon is in first strike. Injury update. He's back. He's a gamer, Dale Scott. He's a gamer. Left thigh contusion. Left a couple innings. He's back.
He just happened to get.
He could have stayed in there for 3 innings. Shut it down. No.
He just happened to get the ice in the middle of the game instead of after the game.
We like that. Yeah. We like that. We like Dale Scott for that. So we hope he's feeling all right. Simeon 1 for 3. Hayes with 12 hits tonight. One hit hard, but right to Odor. So 2 outs here in the top of the 7th inning.
Kep, I do have to mention in the first game of that doubleheader back in 1970, Steve Hamilton of the New York Yankees. Remember it was an ultra ephus pitch. They called it the Folly Floater. He threw it to Tony Horton. It took forever, like a 50-mile-an-hour. He just planted the front foot and just floated it up. Tony took the biggest swing and popped it up towards the visiting dugout, which the Indians dugout. Thurman Munson ran over and caught the ball, and Tony crawled back to the dugout. I mean, it was one of those. It just, it was. He said, I can't believe I didn't hit this ball that was just floating up there. But all that happening in the doubleheader,
and you caught all 18 innings. I know you did. Because you're a gamer, just like Dale Scott. 7th inning stretch coming up. 8-2. The A's lead the Rangers.
Is brought to you by Toyota, the full-line automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America. Toyota, let's go places. And by Xfinity, home of the most live sports.
Bottom of the 7th inning. Kendall Graveman's been very good tonight, battling the heat. But he has not thrown a lot of pitches, which is good. And he's got an 8-2 lead, so he's been able to work with a big lead for the entire game. Andrus Martin Incorporated, and the first pitch is drilled toward the left field corner. And Elvis Andrus, who's had a good series, he's got a double. So Andrus, 5 hits in this series.
They jumped on a first pitch fastball, probably thinking that with a 6-run lead, it's going to give him a fastball. And unlike last night, with up down by 2 runs in the 9th inning, it took a first pitch fastball from Drew Pomeranz. Tonight jumped on the first pitch, and an easy double for him.
So here's Martin.
Actually, odd to be hit by Marcus Simeon his first at bat when he had to jump and throw and get the force out at second.
Martin, big swing, hits it high and foul, headed for the second level. Martin is 0 for 2 tonight, 0 for 6 in the series, and 2 for his last 28. Outfield pulled toward right center. Grounded right to the second baseman, scooped up by Zobrist. So that's out number 1 with Andrus going to third.
And it's amazing the difference in the first and second innings that Mark Canha did the same thing, advancing with Billy Burns down 6 runs, and actually the Rangers are looking for hits to drive in runs, but it just happened to be a good pitch by Kendall Graven. He got another ground ball out, and he's looking for outs now while the Rangers are looking for runs.
Corcoran has the 2 RBIs for the Rangers tonight. Got a chance for another one here. A 2-run double in the 5th inning that scored Gallo and Andrus. So Corcoran getting a start tonight. Chirinos does most of the catching. Hit hard but foul. So now Raymond can, if he so chooses, pitch for the strikeout.
Exactly.
Does have a big lead, but still, you're going to get an out here. You'd rather have a strikeout.
And that's a great point, because you start looking at ERA, and while it's been good, you have to get a little bit greedy and selfish, and he knows the infield's back. He knows that ground ball Andrus is going to score. So you're right. Go for the strikeout, and you got 3 last inning. If you had Joey Gallo up, you might get it.
Yeah, Joey.
Because Joey's very aggressive, and he's going to swing hard.
Corcoran with that open stance, but he closes it. The pitch is delivered. And this one's popped up shallow left. Simeon out, Canha in. And it's going to be Canha who has it, and that will not get the run home.
That's just as good as a strikeout. That's great. Man has a 2-run double. Corcoran did, reacting on a pitch and pulled it down the right field line, and he gets 2 strikes this time. And, breaking ball. He's upset. He knows. It's amazing what those bats do.
Take a beating. It's their fault. So 2 outs for the top of the order, and Rougned Odor. Odor is 0 for 2 with a walk. And he takes low. Odor back in the big leagues, and a much better looking hitter now than he was at the beginning of the year. He's really struggling. And he rips that one toward left. Canha is there, and he makes the catch. Side retired. So a leadoff double does no damage, and we are on to the 8th. It's 8-2, the A's lead.
That means we're on tomorrow, 11 a.m. Join us for A's Baseball Breakfast against these Rangers. It's presented by Black Bear Diner. Every A's game will now be televised this season. So, first pitch right around 11:05. Sonny Gray and Colby Lewis.
That's a good matchup because Colby Lewis has been so strong against the A's. And of course, Sonny Gray against the Rangers has done an outstanding job, especially here. So the A's, if they can hang on tonight, tomorrow we'll go for a sweep. And
let's hope Sonny's drinking lots of water.
Oh yeah, he'll be hydrated because it's going to be warm. Because he's pitched some day games here before. Matter of fact, the last time the A's were here, he pitched a day game to finish the series. But on May the 3rd, it was not quite as toasty as it is right now. Yeah, it was very nice, but a little bit different than that.
So 1-2 to Billy Burns, who is 3 for 4. A little flare towards center. Martin coming in, and he'll get there.
Fans, you can fill out your 2015 Insurance All-Star Game ballot now, right now at athletics.com. Voting is exclusively online and available on your computer, tablet, and smartphone. Vote up to 35 times at athletics.com. And I would like to interject as many times as you want. 35, though, is, I guess, legitimate, but do whatever's necessary. Stephen Vogt, I'd like to think that he'll be in Cincinnati in a couple of weeks. Who knows how it's going to work out? We know there are going to be quite a few Royals there, as we will see those Royals this weekend at the Coliseum for a 3-game series.
First pitch to Canna, bends in for a strike.
Now, we have seen pitchers in the past in a kind of a blowout early. Relievers come in and save a bullpen. And tonight, Bass has done that so far for the Rangers.
Oh, he's done a great job. 3 1/3, 1 hit. He's retired 8 in a row. And really not a lot of pitches in 3 1/3 innings.
The young man Wright for the Boston Red Sox, the knuckleballer, came in at the Coliseum. And you know, you always like to see relievers come in and do a great job, throw a lot of innings and pitches, don't get sent to the minor leagues, because at times that will happen when you take one for the team, save the bullpen, but you may not be available for a few days.
Just a bit high. 3-1. Canna had a base hit in the 5th inning. He's 1 for 4. Big swing and miss. 3-2. 93 miles an hour from Bass. Bass is ready to pitch.
Yeah.
Canna, who takes quite a bit of time in the batter's box. Now he finally gets in there. And he got him swinging. Fastball down and away. Well, CSN's Authentic Fan Friday's coming up at the Coliseum, and it'll be the Friday game, A's and Royals. Get a ticket in our value deck behind home plate, a grab bag of authentic prizes, a cheer card, and a $6 food and drink voucher, all for one great price. The best deal in Bay Area baseball is Comcast Sportsnet's Authentic Fan Friday. Start of a long homestand for the A's.
Actually, we'll have a couple of Fridays, as the Royals this Friday, and the following Friday will be the Mariners. Long extended homestand, which is good.
And between them is the Rockies, right? Interleague
exactly.
baseball.
Yep. Walt Weiss, the Rookie of the Year, 1988. 3 consecutive Rookies of the Year: Canseco, McGuire, and Weiss, 86, 7, and 8. And Walt Weiss managing the Rockies. Walt was a great shortstop.
Yep.
You could pick. Good shortstop, good hitter.
Outside to Vogt. Stevens 2 for 4.
Cap, I know you talked to Stephen Vogt, and of course got the shot in the left elbow, like tennis elbow, and while it is not his throwing arm, which is good, it's still an important part because of the extension, but he said it's amazing what the shot did and just kind of calmed it down. And we think back to last year when Brandon Moss had the hip issue before the playing game against the Royals and got a shot, took care of it. He roped 2 home runs, one against Shields, one against Ventura, and unfortunately not enough runs. But Stephen Vogt feeling a lot better, and again expected to be in the lineup tomorrow behind the plate.
2-2 pitch is lined toward right, and it'll fall, and it'll skip past Choice. And here comes Stephen Vogt. Don't sleep on that speed. Vogt's going to third, and he's going to make it standing up. So we'll see what the ruling is. It's probably going to be an error on Choice as he really misplayed it.
I think at least a hit, maybe the error that it got by him, but it knuckled on him, and I think he got fooled. He started in. He's going to stop here, so you'd have to figure there's the base hit, but the error would be the ball getting past him. We'll see if that's how they score it. But Stephen Vogt thinking they're happy with a single. Oh, got to turn it on. Here we go. Flip off the protecting guard on his right foot, and he's thinking inside the Parker. No chance.
So single E9. So Vogt has a 3-hit night. First pitch to Zobrist is at the knees. 95 miles an hour from Anthony Bass.
It's one of the problems for the outfield. If you're fooled on the ball and you let it drop in front of you, if you don't get your body in front, and of course he tried, but it eluded him. Choice did.
It's one of those where you either dive or you back off, and he did neither, and then you're in between. So Zobrist trying to knock in a run.
And it'd be a big run too, because the A's scored their 8 in the first 2 innings, and Bass has given up nothing. So it'd take a 2-out hit or mistake for the A's to score, but it'd be nice to add another one on their side.
Changeup that dropped low, and now Zobrist ahead in the count 3-1. So 13 hits now for the A's. They've out hit the Rangers 13-7. Zobrist, he was trying to park it in the seats.
4th inning for Bass. He had just made his 51st pitch, and of course Wandy Rodriguez, the starter, threw 94 in his 4 innings. Bass has done a very good job. Bullpen has been active for a couple of innings, but Bass has done such a good job. He's staying in.
Payoff pitch to Zobrist, and it's rolled up the first of the base line, but foul. It's Sam Freeman, who pitched last night. He's up again tonight. Another 3-2 to Zobrist, and it's inside, and he walked in. So for Bass, that's his first walk, and he's going to get a visit from Mike Maddox. So interesting game today, Ray, in St. Petersburg, where the Jays beat the Rays 1-0. They got a Chris Colabello home run in the 12th inning, right? But the real story in the game was Marco Estrada, the Blue Jays starting pitcher. Remember his last start, he took a no-hitter into the 8th inning and lost it. Today, he took a perfect game into the 8th inning and lost it. So with that, you immediately think of what starting pitcher? Dave Stieb.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. Blue Jays. That's right.
Dave Stieb was the last guy to have to lose no hitters in the 8th inning or later. But for Stieb, and I looked it up, 1988 back-to-back starts, lost no hitters with 2 outs and 2 strikes in the 9th inning.
Right.
Back-to-back starts.
Exactly.
1 strike away from a no-hitter in each one. and he lost them both. So then you dig a little deeper. A couple years before that, in 1985, he lost a no-hitter in the ninth inning. And then in 1989, he lost a perfect game with 2 outs and 2 strikes.
Wow.
So 4 times Steve lost no-hitters in the ninth inning. Now that doesn't mean he didn't throw him, because he did.
Yeah.
He finally got one after missing 4 times, getting that close. 3 of them with 2 outs, 2 strikes in the ninth inning. He finally, in 1990, no-hit the Cleveland Indians when he was with the Blue Jays. But it got me thinking of Dave Steve here.
Yeah, that's right.
I remember the 2 starts in a row, but I didn't know there was a couple others. So if anybody deserved one, he did. Begley strikes out, side retired. A's strand a pair. Bottom of the 8th coming up. Rua, Fielder, and Beltre to hit. It's 8-2 Athletics. Early and often for the A's, 5 in the first, 3 in the second. So 8-13-0 for the A's, 2-7-2 for the Rangers. Kendall Graveman's been great, and he's back out there. So, boy, 7 solid innings in hot, humid weather. So he's been terrific. A grand slam in that first inning by Brett Lawrie. Wandy Rodriguez, who had been pitching pretty well for the Rangers, but got knocked around big time tonight. So Kendall Graveman back out there. He's allowed 7 hits and the 2 runs.
He did have a complete game loss for 8 innings down in Anaheim. That was a couple of starts, 3 starts ago, back on the 13th of June. That game he threw 111 pitches. So his pitch count at 87. Trying to get a complete game tonight, if that is what they expect, although the bullpen is active. And see what happens in the ninth. And maybe somebody just in case. Maybe. There's 111 pitches, the tops for Graveman.
That one hit high and deep to right field. Fold on the move, and it's over his head, and it bounces up into the stands and then back out onto the field. So it's going to be a double for Rua.
And he slipped going after the ball. Looked like Sam took off, slipped, and could not recover quickly enough. And as you mentioned earlier, Ron, going opposite field with some pretty good power. Over Sam Fole's head, hit the warning track hard and then into the seats.
So now double action with Abad and Mejica. First pitch to Prince Fielder, just a bit outside, 1-0. Prince Fielder's 2 for 3, couple of singles. So 3 for 7 in the series. Missed again outside, same spot. Beltre to follow. That one catches the lower part of the strike zone. Red Sox beat the Orioles today 5-1. Boston, they're kind of feeling like the A's where they're looking for a winning streak. The A's have found one here. They're starting to play terrific baseball. Red Sox have not hit that stretch yet.
John Farrell trying to figure out the right formula in Boston and start getting some murmurs going through the Red Sox nation about a ball club that was supposed to be in contention this year and maybe go from last to first to last to first again. And
they did pick up a game today, Ray. So they're 8.5 back and they're 32-41. 2-1 pitch is low. 3-1. So record-wise and games back-wise, they're similar to the Athletics.
Yeah, the runner at second base, multiple signs, and Raymond just indicating he's not seeing the signs. And Fegley, he kind of spread out a little bit. He had been trying to hide him a little bit more.
And that one just missed, and Prince Fielder walks. So 2 on, nobody out. Now Bob Melvin's coming out, and we'll see if he goes to the bullpen, and he does. Looks like he's going to want the right-hander Mexico. So Graveman, a very nice job. 7+ innings tonight. And he leaves with an 8-2 lead. So when it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up. The oil change, tune-up, and repair experts. For Graveman, and he hands it over to Edward Mexico. 94 pitches, and that's a good outing in very hot weather. Tough place for pitchers.
10 ground ball outs for Graveman, and we'd like to see Mexico do the same thing here as he comes in, making appearance number 18 between the Red Sox and the Athletics. Of course, the A's picked him up on waivers from the Red Sox. And on the disabled list for the fractured right thumb from down in St. Petersburg. And right now just trying to get out. So he just needs 6 more to get this victory tonight.
Mojica last pitched on Friday against the Angels, so it's been a while for him. And the first pitch to Beltre is inside, 1-0. Michael Choice is the on-deck hitter. After Choice, it's Gallo.
Well, the Friday night game that you referenced is not one to remember.
No.
That was against the Angels, and he's had a 7-2 lead and ended up losing the opener of that series against the Angels from Anaheim. He did win the next two, though.
Beltre is 0 for 3 tonight. And the pitch, he swings and misses. Ball running down and in.
And a good sinker down and in. It started outside, and boy, just ended up down in the end off of the plate. Beltre releasing his hand again. He's got to be feeling it, especially swinging and miss. Those are usually the ones where you feel it the most.
And that one tapped towards Simeon, who scoops, handles a tough hop out at second, and that's a double play. So Mojica gets a huge double play, and 2 outs now and a runner at third.
See how far Simeon has come. Watch this play. A little bit of a bad hop, but he handled it, cratered it into his glove right there. And that's the ball in the heel of the glove. Maybe early in the season he doesn't come up with it, and Rangers might have the bases loaded, but instead he made a nice adjustment, got down almost to his knee, over to Zobrist, and a continuation for a 6-4-3 double play. So 10 ground ball outs by that man Graveman in his 7+ innings, and 2 big ones here.
And here's Michael Choice, his first at bat. Just called up from AAA today. He has not been in the big leagues this year up until now. Sitting 242 with 7 home runs in 61 games for AAA Round Rock. Oh, 2 to Choice. Wide open stance. Fouls that one just below us. Rangers AAA team in Round Rock. Very close, just a couple hours, maybe 2.5 hours away from the Dallas area. Straight south. Choice, the #1 draft pick of the Athletics a couple years back, but grew up in this area. A terrific college career at the University of Texas Arlington. No 2 pitch, and Choice lays off. So Mojica on in relief of Graveman. Mojica did not pitch last night. A's used 4 pitchers last night. Pomeranz, O'Flaherty, Scribner, and Rodriguez all pitched and did a great job. Choice reaches for that one.
Mojica and Abad did not. Of course, Flippard had the night off, so not surprising to see Abad and Mojica both warming up. Mojica in the game now. And if they could avoid using Clipper tonight, that would be even better, as he would get 3 full days off.
Choice swings and misses, and that'll do it for the Rangers. So big double play, ball turned by the A's, and we're going to the 9th. Athletics 8 and the Rangers 2.
Will love the Billy Butler Country Breakfast Bowl. 15,000 fans will pick up the bowl courtesy of Xfinity. Sunday, June 28th. That's this Sunday when the A's play host to the Kansas City Royals. Get your tickets today by calling 877-493-BALL or logging on to athletics.com/tickets for the Country Breakfast Bowl.
So 8-2, the A's lead the Rangers. When it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up, your oil change, tune-up, and repair experts. The lefty Sam Freeman comes in. He pitched last night. He'll face Butler, Laurie, and Simeon. First pitch, sinker low. Butler has walked twice, struck out, and grounded out, so 0 for 2. Broken bat grounder toward Andrus, who handles a very tough hop. Boy, that ball came up on him almost like the ball to Odor, but Andrus was able to handle it. Boy. Watch this ball come up on him. Oh, not quite as high, but up around the letters.
But that was similar to what happened with Simeon on the double play that he turned. So nice adjustment. You have to do those things. And, you know, the one in the outfield, or that one at second by Odor, a little bit different. This one did not come up in the face of Elvis Andrus.
So 2 for 4 tonight for Laurie, and how about 3 for 5? He shoots one into right field. So hit number 14 for the Athletics.
Well, just nicely served the opposite field, so he pulled the ball in the left center for a grand slam, and this one nicely to right field.
Laurie with another hit, and here's Simeon. Simeon is 1 for 4. He singled in his very first at bat, and since then he has grounded out 3 times. So overall 1 for 4.
And 3 hits last night, so good series for him so far. Just waiting for Brett Lord to call time and run over to ask Dale Scott how he's doing.
Got him a hit.
Yeah, because he was concerned about him as Dale Scott walked off the field and wanted to make sure he's okay.
See, if Brett Lawrie finishes the season hitting 300 right on the button, he could thank Dale Scott.
Yeah. Brett Lawrie on Sunday, of course, a great play down in the bullpen. Coliseum. He's wearing the gold socks with the stripes, the Eric Sogard socks. Tonight, though, in this series, he's been going solid green. Pant legs up high, so different look for Brett Lawrie, but it's working. And whatever's working for him in the month of June, keep it going.
So 2-2 the count to Simeon. Sam Fuld will be next. Royals and the Mariners are underway. It's scoreless in the bottom of the second inning. It's Danny Duffy pitching for the Royals, who Duffy just came off the disabled list. So the A's will not see Duffy this weekend then.
I think Guthrie, who pitched last night, of course, they have an off day tomorrow, don't they? Or are they? I just wonder if they have it, because they played Monday and Tuesday. Can't remember if it's a 4-game series against the Mariners.
I think they do. I think they do.
Day off tomorrow, so that Guthrie, who pitched last night, see how they handle the rotation. Ventura's on the disabled list.
So Simeon with the walk. So a couple more base runners for the A's here in the night. Hey, Know It All with Sportsnet Central. It's brought to you by Hyundai tonight at 10:30 on our sister station, Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area. We'll have all the A's highlights from this game, and we'll also get you ready for the NBA draft, which is tomorrow. Monty Poole will let you know what is the Warriors' next move, and don't forget about the Sacramento Kings. So NBA draft tomorrow. Med-free Dave Feldman will host Sportsnet Central.
Well, maybe Monty would be talking about what Pat Riley said, three-peat.
Three-peat?
After the two-peat.
he patented that, so nobody else
yeah,
can
I know.
do it.
I know.
Two-peat, though. Two-peat's out there.
Normally called back-to-back.
Two-peat.
Yeah.
.10 to fold is a strike on the outside corner. Not a lot of time for the Warriors front office to celebrate. They had to get right back to work and get ready for the draft. Warriors would pick 30th. Picking 30th is better than picking first.
That means you're good. Huh?
Won it all.
Means you're pretty good. That's right.
Fold with a big swing. Hangs it hard off that side wall. So 2-2 the count with Laurie at second, Simeon at first. Five walks issued by the Rangers tonight. Broken bat, a pop-up foul down the first base line. The bat goes well past Gabe Morales, the first base umpire.
Catching time, and this is protecting, and that's a lot of bat going a long way, and Sam Fuld with the handle in his hand.
Sam Fuld tonight is 0 for 4. He did reach on an error in the third inning. So Sam trying to join the hit parade. He rolls that one toward first. Rua comes in. And he'll backpedal, step on the bag for the second out. Both the runners move up. And now Billy Burns will hit for the 6th time. It's always good if your leadoff man gets 6 at bats.
He's disappointed, though, because he got 3 in the first 3 at bats and looking for a hit because he's 0 for 2 since. But a big hit now would give the A's a couple of more runs.
Pitch to Burns is a fastball inside, 96 miles an hour from Freeman.
It's like Fernando Abad, who is losing the A's bullpen, would be coming in to pitch the 9th. He got a great job getting a double play and a strikeout. There's Fernando along with Scott Emerson, his bullpen coach. We're looking forward to tomorrow when it's going to be nice and toasty out there. He did tell me, though, Cap, as we looked at the bullpen last night, we didn't see anybody down there, and we saw them gradually coming. They're all positioned there now, but to the left, where Pomerantz is sitting, there's a room with tools, but it's air conditioned.
Well, that's good.
And that's where the players were, the pitchers were.
On the ground, Andrews scoops it, flips to first side, retired. So the A's strain a couple. 9th inning coming up. A's 3 outs away from their 4th consecutive win. They lead 8-2.
coming into tonight's game with a 3-4 record, gets 8 runs in the first 2 innings. Great double play there, started by Marcus Semien. He would get 9 ground ball outs in the first 5 innings. Strikeout, he had 4, put the ball down, and giving up a 2-run double to Corcoran. Other than that, great outing for Kendall Graveman at the old ballpark. So tonight's Honda Player of the Game is the starting pitcher, Kendall Graveman, as he is looking to even his record to 4-4. With Fernando Abad coming on to pitch the 9th inning for the Athletics, and for Fernando, 28th game on the season, only 5 walks. He has struggled. The 5 home runs at the bottom, that's the biggest thing for him. And you see a lot of the A's relievers with inflated earned run averages, and that is something they're constantly trying to get down. Compared to your point last night, the confidence boost by the A's bullpen, the skipper Bob Melvin talking about that, and he'd like to have Clippard available, but he was not. But last night 4 relievers came in, and he thought that could have been a turning point for a group of relievers to have that confidence boost last night, with only 1 unearned run in 4 innings. And tonight, Mujica, a big double play, a strikeout. Fernando Abad will try to have a clean 9th inning and take it to the house and think about tomorrow's series finale.
So Abad facing Gallo, Andrus, and Martin here in the 9th inning when it's time for change. Think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up, your oil change, tune-up, and repair experts. So Abad is the 3rd pitcher of the night, and he'll try to make quick work of the Rangers here in the 9th inning. As my partner likes to say, let's have a clean 9th inning.
That's right. That's, yeah, you don't want an ugly, nice and clean, and
you don't want a dirty 9th inning. Who does?
Well, and especially for the relievers too. That's something, trying to build on the positive things and sit down. That's a great fastball and just blew it by him. And Gallo struck out 3 times tonight. A base hit, but that's a fastball paint on the outside corner by Fernando Abad. So good fastball from the lefty, did not mess around with the breaking ball, went right after it.
So 1 away, and here's Andrus, who has had a couple hits tonight, 3 hits last night, 2 tonight. He's in a single and a double. And he goes after the first pitch, and he hits this one deep right center, but Burns is going to get back there, and he's got it. So 2 outs here in the 9th.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. For the Rangers, number 68, Hanser Alberto. Hitting for Leonis Martin. Hanser Alberto batting for Martin.
Hanser Alberto is going to hit for Martin. So Hanser Alberto at the Coliseum in the last series. And the first pitch is a changeup that stays up and away to Alberto. Alberto, an middle infielder. And swing and a miss, 90 miles an hour. Ace Post Game Live coming up. Guys are standing by in the studio, and find a hero to talk to. Plenty to choose from. Laurie with a grand slam. Kendall Graveman, terrific. 7+ innings in the heat of Texas. These were 14 hits tonight. Alberto reaches for that one. It was very high and very outside, but he was able to get a piece of it.
Bugs Bunny changeup, and he's floated it up way off and out of the strike zone, but hitter reacting on a pitch that he knew maybe wasn't a strike, but once he committed, at least wanted to make contact.
So 1-2. Abad trying to finish it, and that one fouled straight back. And remember, tomorrow we will join you at 11 a.m. 11 a.m. back in the Bay Area for the final game of this series here on Comcast Sportsnet California. And that one hit right back up the middle into center field. It was a floating changeup again, and this time Alberto got the meat of the bat on it and lines a single to center.
Well, you think about the great fastball he threw to Gallo, and then he does this, especially with 2 strikes. And he threw a few, and maybe just working on a little bit, right over his head, almost got his glove up on it.
So hit number 9 for the Rangers, and here's Carlos Corcoran. Corcoran had the 2-run double in the 5th, accounting for both of the Rangers' runs. Rangers are on the verge of losing for the 5th time in their last 6 games. Swing and a miss. Corcoran had a mighty cut, but he missed it. Corcoran is a pace of game violator, right? I'm kind of the pace of game police. You know
yes,
that.
you are. You are the police.
Well, he's a violator.
But you're accurate.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And now it's 1-2.
Well, maybe because he doesn't play that much, he wants to prolong every at bat.
And he does a good job of it.
See, Fernando Bud's got a good fastball, and you know the interesting thing this year, he had a little bit of a setup with his right foot where he took a little bit longer, and now he's quickened a little bit and got rid of it, and maybe he'll go back to it. But he also is having difficulty seeing the signs, because if you notice, Phegley is not doing finger signs. He's doing what they call the outside signs, touching shin guards, chest protector, mask, and not giving signs, because some pitchers it make it difficult, can't see, even with those, what do they call the fingernail things?
Yeah, I forgot.
Flash signs or whatever. But watch Phegley, he had touched various parts of his gear, and that should be the sign. There's whatever that sequence is. Didn't like the first one, didn't like the second one. Finally got to the third one. And you know, if you're a catcher and a pitcher can't see the signs, whatever is good for you that you can see them, because I don't want to get crossed up. Remember, and you know, just thinking, he crossed him up 3 consecutive pitches. Abad did with Phegley. He's kept throwing with sliders. He kept looking fastballs. So a pretty good indication he couldn't see the signs. So let's go to the outside signs and see if that works.
That may be the first time in Major League Baseball history that
3 in a row.
3 in a row.
And yet the catcher never went out to talk once. That one time, I got to talk. 2, come on. 3, what's wrong? Something's wrong. So Phegley decided, let's just work on some different signs, and that would be chest protected, mask. Didn't like it. There you go. So you have a different indicator every time. That was a fastball and a good one.
And that's going to do it. So Abad strikes out Corcoran. The A's score early, and they score often, and they have won the first 2 games of this series. So 2 hours and 46 minutes. They played in front of 34,216. And the A's are heating up, folks. They've won 4 in a row. They've won 8 out of their last 10, and they win it tonight 8-2. You've been watching A's Baseball on Comcast Sportsnet California. Don't go away. A's Postgame Live with Brody Brazil and Pip Roberts starts right now.